Hi, Taylor Chaos here. Today I'll be making a video response to Prince Ea, I don't really care how you say his name, video titled "You Are Not Depressed." The first thing I would like to state is I have been diagnosed with depression by a professional psychologist. The second thing I would like to state is, although I do not have a college degree, I have done a lot of research on the topic of depression as a way of myself coping and dealing with depression. The third thing I would like to state is, although I wish I could speak for everyone, I can only speak for myself and my experiences with depression and the experiences that I've seen other people around me deal with depression. The fourth thing I would like to say is, I cannot talk about this without being in my feelings, as we are talking about an emotion, an extremely strong emotion at that. The final thing I would like to state is directed at you, Prince Ea. You did not bother to do the most basic of internet researches of a single word, depression. Your title of your video and your use of the word is very misleading and is meant to get views and not necessarily talk about the topic, which is quite a serious one. So because you didn't have the common courtesy to, do your research and not talk about it without basic information and research, I won't be holding my tongue in this video. Let's begin. The first problem I have with your video before you even start is the title of your video itself. It sounds very condescending, as if people who are depressed or have depression are just children who are acting out and need to stop it. You say stop it to a child that is misbehaving or a dog that isn't listening to you. I don't think you should say stop it to somebody who has a mental illness.
You are not depressed.
I am not depressed? Do you have the ability to feel my feelings, hear my thoughts? How would you know?
Stop saying that. Oh, snap. I got people mad already.
I understand that your opening sentence is meant to get a reaction, just as the title of a video is meant to get a click. I personally would have never clicked on your video if it wasn't sent to me on Facebook by a relative. I watched it, and I am no better for it. On the contrary.
Ready to go off on me in the comments.
I'll give you that. Some people didn't watch your video all the way through. Good on them. Sadly, I did, and what a mistake that was. Even after you said you're misguided, misinformed, trying to hide behind a motivational speech, you were still wrong, so people didn't really need to watch the whole thing to call you out on it. Funny thing is, when I scroll down to the Facebook comments, majority of the people that were commenting were arguing with your later points in your video. Yeah, you have people mad already because your first sentences show how little you know about the topic.
How dare you question my depression?
That is a great question. How dare you question my depression? How dare you question anyone's depression? Are you a doctor? Are you a psychologist? Have you run an MRI scan of my brain?
Hold on. Don't be so quick to protect that which causes you suffering.
I would actually like to know who protects a depression. So maybe I can talk to that person and figure out what new strand of depression you people are talking about. Because when I protect something, it seems to be things that I care about. Money, food, friends, family, my personal belongings. I never ever protected my depression or that which causes me suffering.
Let's speak honestly. You may be experiencing a depression right now, but you are not depressed.
Quote, you are experiencing a depression right now, but you are not depressed. End quote. That literally makes no sense. In case you need help to understand why that sentence makes no sense, let's play a little game. It's called replace the word. We're going to replace the word depression and depressed with another emotion. You may be experiencing happiness right now, but you are not happy. You may be experiencing anger right now, but you are not angry. You may be experiencing anxiety right now, but you are not anxious. If I am experiencing an emotion, but I am not experiencing that emotion, then what am I experiencing? If you meant to say, you may be experiencing depression, but you yourself are not your depression, That's a completely different thing, and you did not say that.
And I'm going to show you why. And this shift, if remembered, will change your life forever. You ready?
By all that is sacred and holy, you actually think you're helping people with your word. You somehow diluted yourself into thinking that you can cure what modern science, what years of therapy, which is caused by a chemical imbalance in the human brain, cannot be cured with words. Okay, proceed.
See, you are the sky. Depression, frustration, sadness, these are passing clouds. They come, they go. Some are black, some are white. Sometimes they pepper the sky, and sometimes they fill the sky. But they always come and go. Because they, even though they seem like it, are not the sky.
A cloud and sky analogy. Really? This is what you, oh great speaker of words, have to say. Let me explain to you why your sky analogy is flawed. Because no matter how bright the sun shines, no matter how clear the sky is, clouds will always return to the sky.
If they were, then when they went, the sky would go too. And the sky is always there.
Are you aware that people have killed themselves over their depression? Are you aware of these clouds that you speak so lightly of sometimes do take the sky with them?
So likewise, if frustration, depression, and sadness were you, then when they went, you would go. But that's not what happens, is it? But no, you are always here.
Have you ever heard of suicide? Are you even aware of what depression is? How many levels of depression? How many types of depression exists?
Major depression, also called clinical depression, is a brain disorder categorized by persistently depressed mood or loss of interest in activities, causing significant impairment in daily life.
Are you also aware that clinical and chronic depression aren't just the feeling of sadness? In my experience, it's also the lack of positive emotions. It's the lack of the will to keep living and breathing. It's the loss of interest in the things that I love, need, or want to do. It's lying in bed, closing my eyes, hoping that that will be the last time, and then waking up the next morning with a crippling pain and realization that I am still alive. It's an emotional pain that starts in my head and works its way through my entire body. How is that a passing cloud?
You are that which these things appear in front of. You are the witness, the perceiver of depression. And that which perceives depression is not depressed.
Do you know what the word perceive means?
Perceive. Become aware or conscious of something. Come to realize or understand. Become aware of something by the use of one's senses, especially that of sight.
If you are the perceiver of depression, you acknowledge your depression, you understand your depression, how can you not be depressed?
See, imagine this remote control is depression. So you got you, and then you got depression. Depression comes, it goes. It comes, it stays for a while, it goes.
A remote control? Really? Wow, I actually don't know which is worse, your cloud analogy or this analogy. This is useful. My depression is anything but. So what are you saying with this analogy is that once we lose this, now I have to go and find it? If you feel like being lazy and turning your TV on from the couch, you need to find your remote control. If you're depressed and you get out of your depression, you don't need to go find your depression to continue on with your life. This is also a terrible analogy. I'm also confused by the ease of which you speak of depression and how easily you think depression can be overcome.
But you are always here. Big problems come when you start to identify as depression. Never identify with that which comes and goes.
Hey, my name is Jane Doe. I am depression. Who actually introduces themselves like that? As a person, you can identify with a lot of things. Your gender, your sexual orientation, a fucking potato if you so choose to. But not once in my fucking life have I ever heard somebody identify as an emotion or as depression.
Now pause the video right now and take some time with this. This is life-changing.
Oh wow, you actually think you're helping people by touching them with your incorrect words of wisdom.
There's an old saying, before enlightenment, I was depressed. After enlightenment, still depressed.
I think you have the correct quote in there. Don't worry, I have the correct quote right here.
Before enlightenment, I used to be depressed. After enlightenment, I continue to be depressed. Since you want to quote someone, here are 2 quotes and 1 proverb.
But it's totally different now.
How? How is this different? Even in your misquoting, you still make no sense. See, if you actually experience depression in a clinical or chronic sense, you would understand what this quote pertains to. What this quote basically is saying is, before enlightenment, I was depressed. After I gained said knowledge or enlightenment, I continue to be depressed, but I know what depression is or is not.
I no longer identify with the depression.
Oh, so you identify with your depression all along. So why isn't your name Depression EA or Prince Depression? Ah, I see. You're projecting. See, just because this is what you may do and what others may do, this does not mean that everyone who has depression does this.
I realized that it wasn't me.
You somehow seem to think that this quote means that before enlightenment, I was depressed, and now that I am enlightened, I don't let depression define me.
I observe it, allow it to come and go without resisting it.
This is seriously one of the most fucked up things I have ever heard in my life. Don't resist it? What the serious fuck? You know that mental breakdown that depression is pushing you towards? Don't resist that. You know that feeling of being worthless and unloved? Yeah, don't resist that. You know that feeling that's telling you, don't get out of bed or eat anything even though you haven't showered or eaten for days now? Don't resist that. You know that voice in your head that's telling you to kill yourself? Don't resist that. And this isn't bad advice for people who are depressed. This is bad advice in general. A serial killer is trying to murder your ass? Don't resist that. That guy's trying to rape you? Yeah, definitely don't resist that. You have the impulse to spend all your money in pointless things that you don't need? Why resist it? I am genuinely baffled by this. It takes a certain kind of level and stupidity to baffle me. And you, sir, you have surpassed it.
This is freedom. This is truth. You are greater than anything that comes and goes. Peace.
No, 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 no. No, no. No, 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 no. 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 Truth is another word for facts. Truths or facts are statements that cannot be denied. What have you said that cannot be denied with science, logic, Google searches, or common fucking... What truths or facts have you used to back up your obviously ridiculously biased claims? What proof? No, sir, you are not speaking truths or facts. Depression is such a broad term, and you should have done some research before you made this 2-minute and 30-second video that can honestly do more harm than good. Not everyone's depression is the same. Not everyone's depression can be cured by them blinking an eye. What happens if somebody watches your videos not realizing that they have the clinical or the chronic form of depression, and then they see your video and then they feel even worse about themselves because they cannot be cured by wishful thinking? What you're describing in your video is momentary sadness or circumstantial depression. It is not clinical depression or chronic, which, again, if you did the most basic of research, you would know that there are different types. What I have experienced, what my friends have experienced, both in real life and online, what I've learned from a Google search that you could have done, and what I've learned from a psychology book, is that depression is a lack of interest in living, doing the things that we like to do, we need to do, and we love to do. When I am sad, I do something that usually makes me happy, and then I am less sad. When I am depressed, I don't care to eat, I don't care to clean my room, as you can see. I don't care to take care of myself in the most basic of ways. I don't even want to do the simple things that I enjoy doing. I will spend a lot of hours, up to an entire day, in my bed because I don't care to get up or even to breathe or live. If I'm having a good day, I will have 1 to 3 suicidal thoughts a day. If I'm having a bad day, I will have 5 to 10. And even with that, I am grateful because it used to be twice that amount. I actually don't think you've ever been depressed, because if you have felt half of what I felt, half of what my friends felt, I don't think you would have ever made this video. You made a video with such bogus motivational speech, filled with a lack of knowledge and straight up ignorance, that I don't think you've ever felt anything remotely close to depression. Because if you had, you would have actually made a video that could potentially help someone. Instead, you made this, whatever this shit is. I know I'm probably not going to get this, but I honestly think you should make an apology video. Not to me, because, see, I have been living with depression for more than half of my existence. I know what it is and what it isn't. However, I would like you to apologize for people like my friend, who, if they had succeeded in their suicide attempt, I would probably be dead right now, and I wouldn't be able to make this video because he's the one who talked me out of committing suicide. And I'm really not bashing anyone because I know how depression can be. I know how sadness can be. I have experienced sadness. It's not a fun thing to experience. And yes, you do need to change your outlook. But to compare depression with sadness isn't the right thing to do. Chronic depression, which is what I have been diagnosed with, will never go away, no matter how many happy thoughts I have, no matter if I take medication or not. The only way for me to get rid of my depression is with me killing myself or until I die. See you on the next video, unless I took his advice not to resist it and I actually killed myself. Peace. Bye.